Here is the 2024 Honda Pilot TrailSport in lunar silver over black interior. When you go TrailSport, you're gaining an inch of clearance. This is the off-road variant. I'm going to be going over comparable rivals, pros and cons, and the problem that I have with the TrailSport. I'm Anthony from Hawkeye Rides, and all pilots receive LED headlights in daytime runnings. The Sport trim starts with the LED fog lights. The grille is going to have the gloss black elements that integrate into the headlamp assembly, which gives a wide stance, and it gives more of a beefy profile because standard is at 7.3 inches. TrailSport takes it up to 8.3 inches, which is close to the best in class when you're thinking about Hyundai, Toyota, or Nissan. But the difference between them and this is you're not getting an increase in towing or payload when you option the off-road variants or tick the box for the all-wheel drive variants for Nissan. That goes up to 6,000 pounds, which is the best in class. Then it will be Kia Telluride SX Prestige X-Line Pro all-wheel drive increases to 5,500 pounds, and you'll get a heavy-duty roof rail. This matches everybody else at 5,000 pounds, but go front-wheel drive, drops to 3,500 pounds. Underneath the hood is a 3.5 liter V6. We gained 5 horsepower, so it's 285 now, with 262 pound-feet of torque, paired to a 10-speed automatic transmission. When you're thinking the Passport, because maybe you don't want to go to a third-row variant, you're not going to get the increase in clearance, and you're losing 5 horsepower, plus it's a 9-speed automatic transmission. Here, we're achieving 18 mpgs for the city and 23 mpgs for the highway. 18-inch wheels is standard. When you go TrailSport, you get the all-terrain tires with the TrailSport wheels. Going up to the Touring and Elite, you'll be able to option a 20-inch wheel. The sweet spot is really at the EXL, unless you're wanting to do some off-road performance, because you get the lift and the suspension when you go TrailSport. Gloss black on the side view mirrors and the roof rails with the door handles matching. The lower skirt flares out a little bit, as well as the fenders, and you can option an HPD package, which will flare them out more so, and giving you the HPD graphic in the rear to make it look a little bit more athletic than the comparable rivals. Because when you go Nissan and you tick the box for the Rock Creek, it looks aggressive and you can tell it's an off-road variant. But when you go TrailSport, it's subtle touches to it, especially depending on the color palette that you choose. And now for 24, the Passport can option the same blue color that is optioned on the Pilot. With 7 different driving modes, the Sport will get 5 different driving modes, but you'll also receive dual exhaust outlets on the Sport trim, whereas here it will be lifted up because of the clearance and more of an off-roadsy look. Front and rear parking sensors and a 360-degree reverse camera. Comparing to any of its rivals in class, you're going to be saving money, and if you don't need to option a third row, you go to the Passport and you're going to save over $5,000 opposed to this, but you're not going to get the lift. Power liftgate going into 18.6 cubic feet behind the third row. It will sit up, but the bumpers don't come out too much, so it makes easy access to get in. 12-volt charger, you can remove this so you can clean it, and you'd want to remove this also because you have your jack right there. This is also reversible, which is really nice, because when you're considering how big the storage is underneath there, look at this. You're not only maximizing space there, but now you can put wet objects and it's not going to make anything stink. You have another little tray here, split fold the third row at a 60-40 split more or less. That is going to increase cargo to 48.5 cubic feet. Unfortunately, to put the captain seats down to get the max 87 cubic feet, you have to go inside to do so, in which they fold down flat to optimize the cargo capacity. Ten-way power seat adjustment for the driver, 4-way power seat adjustment for the passenger. The orange stitching, that's contrast throughout the seat. TrailSport badging. The EXL starts with the power seat adjustment for the passenger, memory for the driver. Headroom and leg room. It's going to have a lot of space for the footwells for the front occupants. You get the contrast stitching in orange with a storage pocket between the dash. Gloss black elements are going to surround the side air vents. Bose premium sound system is only on the Elite. The 9-inch infotainment starts on the EXL. The Touring gets navigation, but we get cabin talk here, which when you click onto here, you could speak into the microphones in which it will communicate to the back of the vehicle, so you don't have to yell at anybody here. But you do receive the Honda Link. Apple CarPlay, Android Auto is wireless. That starts on the EXL. Sirius XM, AM, FM, streaming Bluetooth audio. Put it into reverse, and we got a 360-degree reverse camera with full trajectory. You can change different layouts for the camera position. And what I like about Honda, you can click right here, and the camera pulls up, and you can use this over 10 miles per hour. Tri-climate control is standard, 12 volt, 2 USB ports, and you have kind of a his and her, but only one wireless charging pad. The gloss black is going to wrap around, and the key fob for the Pilot. Driving mode select, brake hold, so you don't have to hold the brake once you come to a stop at a stoplight. This is going to be the same setup as the Passport, so it's going to be a deep and long, wide opening for the box. Leather wrap steering wheel, 3-spoke, multi-function. It is heated with the paddle shifts, 7-inch driver informational interface system. The 10.2 is only going to be optioned in the Elite, and you can go through an array of information for the driver, including the driver mode select, which you have Sport, Normal, Econ, Snow, Trail, Sand, Tow, a million different options, which you're probably only going to be using Sport, Normal, and Econ. The dash and the door panels configure in together, and you get the gloss black elements that highlight it. It's going to be a little bit more sporty for the arms to rest, one touch up and down for the windows, 2 tiers of storage with an auto-dimming rear view mirror and a large pano moonroof. For the second row, headroom, and these recline. So now you have a lot more headroom. And leg space, they also adjust forward for the third row or cargo capacity. You have storage behind both of the front seats, and you have a little sleeve right here with the third climate control that starts on the EXL. Home plug, if I can open it up. 2 USB ports, air vents, and because they're captain seats, this doesn't lock though. That's the only con that I have here. Manual sunshades. And the door is going to receive the same materials, so the gloss black contrast stitch. It's still going to be a little bit sporty and about the same size storage as the front, except for the bottom tier. And in the center, because these are captain seats, you can just relax your legs, which you'll see in the third row. Entering into the third row, push the button and it's going to shift forward. You can slide it a little bit more so to fit 3 more in the back. USB ports, air vents, cup holders are on both sides. Headroom is actually pretty good. Let's see what that leg room looks like. We're going to slide this back all the way, and you can see why it's one of the best in class. Sitting into the center, because it's open, you can also relax your legs, because it's going to be a little bit more tight for butt, shoulder, leg, and feet space, because this bulges out more so, but headroom is still doable for anybody that's 6 foot. The TrailSport is the most unique trim of its class because you're getting a tuned all-wheel drive system. They don't offer that in any other variant for the Pilot, plus the increase in clearance. You get the skid plate and the off-road tires or all-terrain tires. 285 horsepower and 262 pound-feet of torque, so you're getting more than you would in a Passport, plus you're getting more clearance. Ticking the box for a TrailSport on the Passport. They have revised the suspension, but they don't give you any suspension lift. Increase in towing, they still haven't done that. When you tick the box for all-wheel drive, which obviously the TrailSport, you're going to get 5,000 pounds, and that's for all the variants, which when you go Kia Telluride and you tick the box for the SX X-Line Prestige, you're going to get 5,500 pounds. When you go Rock Creek for Nissan, for the Pathfinder, TIC all-wheel drive, which comes on the Rock Creek, 6,000 pounds. When you go TRD, unfortunately, you're not going to be getting any increase in towing. So it does keep up with Toyota. It just would be nice that they gave you a little bit more towing and payload, just like the rivals do. You do feel like you're sitting up higher, which makes it a little bit more of a comfy ride, and with all-terrain tires, it's still not feeling too much imperfections. The drive feels refined, 10-speed automatic transmission opposed to the Passport's 9-speed automatic transmission. I'm not a huge fan of the infotainment coming out of the dash. They could have reconfigured that a little bit better. I do like that the Passport is utilizing the center cluster now in its variant, because if you don't need the third row, you can option that. It's going to take me to some pros and cons, starting off with the pros on the TrailSport. You've heard quite a bit of them, not just with the tuned all-wheel drive, the lift, interior, you're getting a great value, but a lot of that value comes from the EXL, which is the sweet spot if you don't need to have the off-road appearance and the lift, because most people that buy this vehicle is not going to take it off-road. You will get 7 driving modes, which is insane. I mean, you could sit here and just hear that noise all day long. The sport trim, I think, is enough. You get 5. The gauge cluster, I would have liked to see the 10.2 and a heads-up display at least on the Touring, not just on the Elite trim. Now, when you go Touring, you can get the 12 speakers through Bose, just like the Elite. It feels very truck-like, even though it's a unibody construction, which that helps for that smooth drive. The steering is light, and when you're considering rival perspective, especially Toyota, it's pretty heavy when you start going into TRDs. The windows are huge. On the exterior, it doesn't look so big, but it is. It's longer, it's wider, and the interior has a lot of space. The cons, you're not getting anything increased other than clearance and a off-road suspension, which it's not going to be like a Bronco. Turn radius is about 2 lanes. Let's rock and roll. V6 engines are always a plus for me. I like V8s, don't get me wrong, but you don't need that for a Honda. Some other cons is the base trims don't offer as much value. You have to go up more or less to the EXL to make this vehicle as pleasant with features in the inside and for exterior features. And another con that I have with Honda is they inter-exchange parts throughout all of their trims. So the Pilot and the Passport are going to be the same for the center cluster, more or less, in which I want this to be different. This is a third row variant, and this is an off-road variant, so make it look a little bit more rugged. Don't put the same contrast stitching, maybe add a pass-through, only to just offset it. I get it, we get a lot of storage nooks throughout, cup and bottle holders. I just want it to be different. Like when you're thinking of the Accord and Civic, you get the honeycomb that goes through the center of the dash. Change it up. And that takes me to the big problem that I have with the TrailSport. All of the rivals increase with towing, payload, not just aesthetics and a suspension lift. Most people were not going to even utilize this vehicle for off-roading performance, in which the EXL will be sufficient because you get more or less the same features. Or tick the box for the Elite and you're going to tack on a few more features, in which I would like this to be the sweet spot, because now for a couple of years they haven't changed anything, even aesthetically speaking on the interior. It would be nice that the TrailSport goes the next level up, kind of like the Bronco. Option it where you can have carpet or not, so that way you can have that off-roadsy interior, but But let me know your thoughts in the comments, and if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. Check out the next video, merchandise, website, and Instagram. Leave a comment and a like, and I'd like to thank Ocean Honda for giving us this 2024 Honda Pilot Trail Sport for our car review.